Hello and welcome to Insurance Fraud Files. In today's video, we're looking at one of the most bizarre insurance fraud cases in recent years, a claim involving a luxury Rolls-Royce and an alleged bear attack in the United States. A shocking video, dramatic damage, and a story that seems almost too wild to question. Almost. The footage shows what appears to be the aftermath of a brutal encounter with nature. Deep scratches across the doors, torn interior panels, broken trim, and chaotic damage patterns. According to the claim, a bear broke into the vehicle and destroyed parts of it while searching for food. The video, submitted as evidence, shows the bear moving aggressively around the car, clawing and biting at the bodywork. At first glance, this kind of claim triggers a very human reaction, disbelief, mixed with fascination. Bear attacks on vehicles are rare, but not impossible. In certain parts of the United States, wildlife damage is a known risk. That's exactly why this case initially seemed plausible enough to move forward. But experienced investigators know that fraud often hides behind dramatic narratives. The more sensational the story, the more important it is to step back and analyze the physical evidence rather than the emotions it provokes. The first red flag appears when experts examine the nature of the damage. Real animal attacks leave chaotic, inconsistent patterns. Bears don't focus on symmetry. They don't repeatedly strike the same angle. They don't apply force in controlled, repetitive motions. In this case, however, the scratches followed unnaturally consistent lines. The spacing between marks was uniform, and the depth of the damage suggested controlled pressure rather than wild force. The interior damage raised even more questions. Upholstery tears appeared clean and directional, not shredded. Certain materials were damaged while adjacent. More vulnerable components remained untouched. For a real bear attack, this selective destruction makes no sense. Then came the video analysis. Frame by frame, investigators noticed something that could not be ignored. The movement of the bear lacked the natural weight distribution of a real animal. The posture was off, the reactions were delayed, and most importantly, subtle seams and folds were visible, details that only appear in fabric, not fur. The conclusion was unavoidable. This wasn't wildlife damage. It was a staged event. The bear was a costume worn by a human, deliberately inflicting damage on the vehicle to support a fraudulent insurance claim. According to reporting later confirmed by The Guardian, the individuals involved had carefully planned the scene. They believed the combination of a rare scenario, emotional shock, and video evidence would prevent deeper scrutiny. What they underestimated was the role of expert analysis. This case is a perfect example of how insurance fraud is rarely exposed by one single clue. It's uncovered through the convergence of physical damage assessment, behavioral analysis, material science, and experience. Cameras can lie, stories can be rehearsed. But damage patterns don't improvise well under expert review. The bear attack on the Rolls-Royce wasn't just a failed scam, it was a reminder that fraud often relies on spectacle, hoping that shock will replace scrutiny. In reality, it does the opposite. The more dramatic the claim, the more closely professionals will examine every detail. At Insurance Fraud Files, this is exactly what we do. We reconstruct incidents, analyze evidence, and separate real losses from staged scenarios. If you're dealing with a suspicious claim, unexplained damage, or a case that simply doesn't add up, professional investigation isn't optional, it's essential. If you are faced with a suspicious claim, incomprehensible losses, or a case that is not supported by facts, Insurance Fraud Files is the place where expertise meets reality. If you need a professional investigation, loss assessment, or expert support in a complex case, do not rely on assumptions. Thank you for watching Insurance Fraud Files. See you in the next video.